We are live. It does say so. So let's get on. We are the Mad Scientists. I'm Mad Frankie. This is Violet Igor over here. And together we make the Mad Scientists.
Oh, very good.
There we go.
I'm going over there to do my own little thingy.
Okay, we'll have a look at what you've been playing with in a bit.
I'm not really, no. Ha ha ha.
This is black ink. It's India ink that I've watered down. I think it's 1-to-1, I'm not sure. But I just wanted an area of black ink because I want to try out some bleach on it.
Okay.
So I saw somebody had tried it, and it looked. What?
Take a look and get yourself centered on camera better.
Okay, will do. Let me rinse this up a bit. So bleach, yeah. So let's have some bleach. Got two types of bleach here. I've got Silit Bang and Domestos. Silit Bang is a black mold and mildew killer, and it's a clear liquid. Domestos is a thick bleach, and it's got citrus with it. So I'm going to do one with this. So I don't want to do it with the spray. I just want to blob some on, if I can. I could just do it with the... Oh, heck, let's do it with the brush. Because it's from this book, which is right next to me. It is bleach dropped into black ink with a brush, creates soft sepia-toned areas. And I'll show you the book in just a minute. I just want to get this on here. But some of it's already dried because I was too anxious trying to get started. There we go. This is just a rubbishy brush, you see. It's not anything in particular. I got it in a bag of basics from Hobbycraft, kids, basic brushes and basic sponge brushes. So I didn't want to use any decent brushes.
Because of the bleach.
Because of the bleach, in case it sort of ruins it entirely. But of course, it's not a great brush, as you can tell if you... I don't know if you can see there, but there's loads of hairs coming out of it. So it's definitely not the best brush in the world. You wouldn't expect it for, I don't know, £6 for the whole bag full, you know? Something like that. So, I don't need to put that on there. So we need to do another area. And, well, before I do the next area, I'll explain a bit more what I'm doing. So, I've got this nice book. Oh, let me get rid of the mouse so it's out of the way. I've got Bao Hong paper here, you know, the block of Bao Hong paper, which is 100% cotton, acid free, 300 GSM, so that's £140. It's the same stuff as I got most of the other papers I have. And I've just put this, as you just see me put the bleach on top of the black India ink that's been diluted in a 1-to-1 ratio with water. And this book is one I got at a charity shop. It's from a Channel 4 program called Watercolour Challenge. And there's lots of different, I think it's that, lots of different ones. There's Watercolour Challenge, Painting with Watercolour Challenge with Diana Vowles. Forward by HRH of Prince Wales. Watercolour Challenge, just says Watercolour Challenge, so that'll be the first one, I expect. And then this one, Watercolour Challenge, Practical Painting Course. And it's got lots of interesting bits in, but when I got near the back towards different experimenting, no, that's compensation. There we are. Special effects. So this has got the stuff that we're used to, like tinfoil and wax resist and various other things that we do with mediums and wax crayons, masking fluid, masking with paper, masking over a wash, all sorts of different things. And it includes here different ways with bleach, which I thought sounded quite good. So that's bleach into black ink. It doesn't look as if it's done a great deal. But when I say bleach, it's Silic Bang, which is black mold and mildew killer. So we'll try with the thick bleach as well, see how that works. Yeah.
And here's a little tip. Bleach will, if you find mold or mildew, bleach will clean it up, but it does not kill the spores.
Mm-hmm.
So it can regrow or reproduce.
Yeah.
If you want to be sure you've killed the spores, use hydrogen peroxide.
I think that's what it was, what it said on the doodah.
Yep.
Hydrogen peroxide.
And of course, never mix hydrogen peroxide with bleach because you will not like it.
So let's do another bit of this, and I'll do the other bleach in there. See what difference that makes. And I've got other things as well to try, like Aquafix. Increases resistance to water. Mm-hmm. And then Aquapasto, which thickens and reduces flow. So I've got other things to play with as well. And I've got some inks there, other inks, the gold, silver, and all that kind of stuff. Also like to get this one on a bit quicker so that I can have it go into damp ink.
Mad scientist at work.
We're doing the mad sciencey stuff today.
Or at play, rather at play.
Now, oh, stop trying to tip over. There we go. Oh, that's working a lot better. Look at that.
No, see, I can see the book, can't see a thing you're doing.
Oh, sorry. Well, you can now.
I thought maybe you... There we go. Now we could see it.
So we can see there's actually something happening here. But with this one, which is obviously a different formula to Domestos, being that's Domestos, and this is Silic Bang. I mean, I can read off the bottle, but I didn't bring the bottle in. I only decanted some into each one so that you could try it. I mean, I could always try spraying a bit on that one to see if I don't know that it'll do anything because I've already put it on. It may show up when it's drier. Oh, two anyway. But that's quite fun to see that happen right in front of me. And this one sort of, is it looking or isn't it? So wait a second. But don't forget, I want to do some more with these nice mediums. So I've got the granulation medium there. I've also thought to get some of these ready. So I can use droppers. Use me droppers.
Be sure to put yourself back on camera.
How about if I just move this over so you can see that? Then I don't have to keep moving it backwards and forwards. And this is a black ink as well, but this is traditional Chinese ink, silver black. So if I shake that up, rinse that silly little brush out. Let's spread that with the brush. Right, so that's just colour. Because even though I've shaken it up, I can't see any silver. There probably is some in there somewhere, but you'll maybe only see it when it's dry. I was thinking about this because what I'm looking at, this little bit here,
Yeah.
looks exactly the colour and splotchiness of this beam in a cafe where I drew what I could see in front of me, and there was a beam looking just like that. And I thought, well, that'd be great if that does that. So let's try this one again because it worked so well before. Mop that up so I don't put black straight back into the bleach. I think there is something happening there. I can see a faint little bit of colour, but I don't see so much happening here. There is something around the edge, but not as much as there is in this one. So
maybe it needs to sit a bit longer.
Yeah, possibly. I also want to try this with different watercolours, so we'll try it with some black watercolour as well. So I've got that one and this one. Have I got black in here? I can't remember. I've got lamp black and neutral tint. Let's try those two. Lamp black and neutral tint. Not in that one, but in Dad's box. Oops. Wrong way around. If I put it this way around, I can tell where neutral tint and lamp black are. So according to this, that's lamp black and that is neutral tint. Okay. Water. Lamp black first. And then neutral tint as well, which is more like a Payne's grey, really. Neutral tint, don't you think? More like a Payne's grey, certainly lighter.
Yeah, what I see on camera, I see sort of a purplish
bluey tint. Yeah, that's exactly what's there. Yeah. So let me get a touch of this bleach. It is doing something here, isn't it? Oh, it's definitely doing something there as well. And a bit in this one. Yeah, that is definitely working. I wonder what would happen if I used a brown instead of a black. Just be careful when you're playing with bleach not to get any on your hands if you can possibly help it. Because if you do, then it could sort of irritate your skin. So if you're a bit wary of that, wear gloves. I don't know why I didn't think of that myself earlier. I should have. Is that burnt umber? Yeah. That's raw umber. This is burnt. I'm just trying to get that good and deepish, which isn't very. Tell you what I would like to try. There's a sepia in there as well, and that would be good to try because it looks almost black on the test piece. Now, where's sepia? It's that one. Not a lot of room left. I shall have to put some down the bottom. There we go. A little bit in here. I love the way it sort of runs away from the nozzle when I'm pointing it. Let me see if I can put any on top of that one. didn't think it had very much happen to it. It's all dry now, so it may not do anything at all. Just trying to use up this, what I've got left in here. Oh, it's fun, isn't it? Isn't it fun?
It's fun. It's fun.
Now I need to empty that pot. So let's put the lid on that one, because it's so dirty and dark. I mean, it's black. So that's a nice little experiment. I better write on it what's what. So that's and this is India ink. And this one was, can you remember what that one was?
Nope.
Oh, that was the silver black. And that was lamp black. Neutral tint. This is sepia. And this was burnt umber. So if I put Dom there, there we are. Now we've got something written on it. So I think sepia is the closest, but even that's not quite right. You see, on this book, it just says bleach dropped into black ink with a brush creates soft sepia-toned areas. Well, it hasn't. It's created some interesting colours and so forth, but I don't see anything that looks like... Hang on. Looks like... that.
Like that.
Nothing looks like that. So does it say anywhere else about the type of black ink? No, not a dicky bird.
Well, the difference of what I see is you have a more compact area. I don't know how much they shrunk that picture.
Yeah.
So I don't know the full size of that picture that they're working with, the palette, substrate. So let's just say that the picture that you're enjoying, that you want to see the action, actually took up the whole of your card.
Yeah.
Let's say it was that big. So you have more area to work with, more area.
Yes, I don't have any of that colour here, is what I'm saying. The closest I've got is in this sepia. But even that isn't quite the same.
That isn't, yeah.
No. Yeah. So I'm wondering, what sort of black ink were they using? Because this is talking about non-waterproof inks. So what's before this page? Bleach effects, which is an instant effect, whether applied with a brush, sprayed, spattered, or sponge. Hash or bleach can be used to create highlights or to lighten or manipulate laid colour. Still don't mention what black ink. I mean, there's a similar area down there, or you can see it already here. And that says, here the mottled surface of old concrete is created by lifting out colour with a brush dipped in dilute bleach. So here it's talking about Indian ink laid over dried watercolour, then brushed with bleach and scratched with the end of the brush. It suggests the texture of a deteriorating concrete wall, but that's this red bit here.
It did say diluted ink or bleach.
Yeah, well, that is, yeah. Yeah, well, that's thick bleach, so it's going to need probably is going to need some diluting.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not getting any brown tones with Indian ink. That's saying it's Indian ink, but I'm not getting that with my Indian ink.
You think brand?
I'm also not getting it with the what?
You think the manufacturer of the ink would matter?
I don't see how, but I suppose it's possible. I've only got the one Indian ink anyway. Yeesh, you only got one. didn't really want to buy lots of Indian inks.
I don't
They're
like.
not cheap.
Well, then you get what you get.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
you can't replicate, but you can get what you get. I mean,
Well, yeah. I can't now locate the bottle. It's probably around the back somewhere. But of course, I decanted it into here so I'd have something with less power.
well, of the 7 swatches that you've got there, the one with top right and the bottom strip are my favorites.
Yeah, well, that's burnt umber. But all that's doing is just lightening the colour. It's not creating this sort of thing. But yeah, perhaps trying with an undiluted bit of India ink would be a thought. Oh well, it was just a test to see what would happen. We've got some quite nice, interesting results anyway. I mean, it shows that the thick bleach, the Domestos, does work on things better than the mold and mildew killer, despite it smelling like bleach. And it didn't really do much at all on there, even on putting it on the dry ink. So perhaps not on the dry ink, only on the wet ink. That's dried ink. That's wet ink. And that's dried ink that's already had a Sillet Bang bleach in it and has now got Domestos bleach in it on top, but in specific blobs. This one, again, as I said, it's just bleaching it out, pushing the colour away. Here, when it's pushing the colour away in the neutral tint, it's showing up some green areas, which is quite nice, isn't it? And in the lamp black paint, I'm getting quite good effects as well, but nothing is showing up a brown through the black.
Yeah, I'm looking at a video and there's a definitely a bleach effect. Now this guy used let me see if I can pronounce the word Montegrappa black fountain pen ink.
Oh yeah, I
And
don't think I've got any black fountain pen ink. I've got
he's
Quink, which is blue, blue black.
you could try that, but what he did was he saturated a piece of watercolor paper
With the blue black, with the
with the
Monty
ink.
ink.
Yeah, whatever size you want, but he saturated the area and basically that's what he said. He saturated it so it was very wet. And then he used the brush to brush in slowly and consistently brush in the bleach.
What? Keep on going at it for a while, or just put it in some areas like I've done, or did you just keep on brushing it in while she checks that? The reason I wanted this is because of this particular drawing I did in this cafe, and in this cafe there's a beam here. There's more in the ceiling, but we can't see those, and a beam here, which is exactly like this. Which is why I was hoping to be able to find that and use it. But in the meantime, let's get rid of this one and let it dry, and we can go on and try some of the other things. There's a couple of things there I've not yet tried, like the Aquafix and the Aqua Pasto. Antipasto is a food for a particular time that you eat it. So let's hoik this one off. I'm just wondering whether I can use a different one and let that dry. What other ones have I got? Acid-free, 100% cotton, mold made, 300 GSM. So we'll try that one. We'll leave this one to dry and we'll try the top sheet of that.
So he says in here that he uses an old pad, an old watercolor pad. He doesn't know what the brand is, but the paper is not too absorbent, so the ink stays wet when you apply the bleach.
Right.
So there's a tip.
So I don't know whether this says anything about its absorbency.
Nick Stewart.
Rough grain is about... No, it doesn't really say anything else at all. Oh, well. Never mind. We'll have a go. So, the aqua pasto thickens and reduces flow. So there's something about mediums in this book as well. Let's see whether they mention that one. Exploring wetting agents. Well, let's have a look at the back. There might be something in the index. This has got some, I mean, quite a lot of books that I buy at the in the charity shops. These sort of telling you everything about watercolor type things. Quite a lot of them have things like using various things with your watercolor, like your tin foil, your wet into wet, wet into dry, damp into wet, all these different techniques and things. And but this one seemed to have a slightly larger range of different things. Like I hadn't seen much about bleach in a lot of them. This is looking at granulation. Certain pigments are more granulating than others. Let's have a look at the back. 225. 225. Texture mediums. There we are. It also talks about oxball as well. I think that might be over the page. This one is about splattering clean water. Yeah, that's quite good. So let's have a look at this. Aqua pasto, it stops the colour from bleeding into the previous colour. So it's put lots of colour there in stroke after stroke after stroke, and they go where you put it and they don't move so much. So let's try a bit of that. We will need a nice clean pot of water. Let me get rid of the black one to be decanted and washed later. I even got out my glass pens, and then when I started trying to fill a block area, I thought, what's the point of that? That's why I started using the brush instead. But at least they're there. So they're using various colours. And I think, does it say what colours he was using? Nope. So you can pick your own. So there's blues and greens. That one's just blues. It was thicker, I think it said. So we want a little bit of this. So let's put a little bit of this. Move that. Put a little bit of this just there. All I'm doing here is just mixing the colour here at the edge.
There you go.
Now, I've got the little dot of aqua pasto there. I'm mixing in with the blue so that then we can go. And another one. And then I want to get rid of that red. It's sort of in my way a bit. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I should just try it anyway. Mix in some of the aqua pasto. Same colour. Some more water. That's without aqua pasto. A bit more green in with that. That was Payne's Grey there. I remember using that. So I've got pretty much the same colours. This is with aqua pasto, and this is not. It's just the paints. So let's make a note of that. With aqua pasto. Right. And then we want to try, what's aqua fit? Let's have a go at that. No idea. Let's have a go anyway. So let's first, some water, use some of this red, because I seem to have quite a lot of it. So let's have a little bit of this mixed in with this. Put the lid back on. Might need a drop more in a minute. I think we'll go with permanent blue. First of all, permanent blue. I'll put some blue there. And we'll put some blue there. And then we'll add a tiny drop more of this to that blue. Let's get some more blue colour on there first. And add a drop of this. Use up the blue, put some on the other side as well. Labelled that. Aqua Fix. And just because I like it, let's have a go with some granulation stuff, because I do like the granulation. Nice to have it there, to be able to see it and go, ooh, like it. There we are, over there. Granulation medium. Now then. Now we've got Windsor blue there. So let's do some Windsor blue. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Granulation radio. Actually, I'm getting fed up with that. Let me stick that down. Okay. Stop it from flopping. Can also do things with soap. So I brought some soap in, but we'll see if we have time for that. And I also want to put a little bit in there as well. Now this is still damp, so we'll put some in that corner. And now I've dropped the lid. Dearie me. Some in that corner. And some in here. So that's got double. So here we've got Windsor Blue. Granulation. Medium. And here we've got just water. So this is, now we can look at this now that we've done this. You can see how it is keeping its shape here. It is not going into the blue, whereas here it's spread out. I only put it on these sides and it's spread in, and I did the same with these, same action, and you can see how these have stayed where they were put and this hasn't. That's great, isn't it, to be able to see that? Now here we put just water. That's spread quite well. I've got a feeling this one was a bit dry when I put that one on. This one was damper, but this one has got Aquafix. And unfortunately, I like the blue so much, I did rather a lot there, so it's not so easy to see what's happening. But you can see the edge here, how it seems to be mixing. Aquafix. What's Aquafix do? Might have to try that again on a bigger area. Increases resistance to water. So it should stop it from moving. But on this one, it looks like, as I say, maybe it was too dry. Looks like this didn't move so much, but this one's moved quite a lot. And there's a bump here, so that's definitely was wet enough. This one's still wet. You can see the glisten. Interesting. And you can see how the granulation medium is working in here, where it's dropped in there and there, whereas this one had granulation medium mixed into the paint, so we can see the difference. That's good. I like that. I do like doing these tests. It's interesting. Now, the person doing this book here has got pieces of old towel, scrim, primed canvas, cut cotton duck, canvas selvage, unprimed canvas, all sorts of different materials. I don't think I've got any of those. I've got old towel, but I mean, goodness knows what the towel is made of, so it's kind of difficult. It's better if somebody's going to do a demo like this that they have some idea of what that particular cloth is made of, what it's. I mean, if you go to a remnants shop or to a place like, I've got a place nearby that's called the Cheap Shop, and it does materials, textiles for making up into dresses. It does patterns and things, and it does curtain material, and it does the material that has been treated with that waxed. So it's sort of canvas material has been got a pattern on and treated with some kind of waxy stuff, so that if you spill something on it, it ain't going to stick. And it doesn't soak in. So that sort of stuff. And because of that, they know what the materials are. So if you go in and ask for Hessian, they've got about 6 or 7 different types, different weaves, different amount of threads in them. They've got they can tell you which is we've got flax, cotton, and they probably know exactly what cotton duck is. I just think, wait. That's what a cotton duck is to me. But I'm not a clothes maker or someone that does any sewing of any kind, unless I can just put something under the machine without bothering about anything else. I just go brrr, and call it mixed media. That's about as far as I go. So I've also got out my iridescent medium here, but I don't think I want to do that because I haven't done that before. And this is more consistent with each other, and they are showing something. I would like to do the Water and Aquafix again, because I don't think I gave it a fair chance there. Yeah, because I think what I should have done was put the red down, blue down quite quickly. And I think I left it a bit long there. So we'd have to try that one again. So what else is in here? There are lots of different things in here. Really fascinating to look at. All these different things. I would like to try some of these. Now, this is medium texture gel for acrylic, and I do happen to have something down here, I think. I've got acrylic flow medium, which is not what I thought I brought. Texture medium? Have I got texture medium? I've got some salt. I've got 2 different sizes of salt. Somewhere. I've got the ordinary table salt right here, but I should have brought the other one as well. Perhaps we'll do that in another one. Because I've got water spray and what else have I got? I've got soap. There is a bit on soap somewhere in here. Wax resists. Using salt for texture. See, what I like about this is not just that it's telling you what you can do, it's showing you the effect. And then it can show you using texture mediums. So, to enliven the grassy hill, work back into washes mixed with watercolour texture medium. Then use medium acrylic texture gel for the ploughed field. So it's showing you the different things you can do with it. Aqua pasto mixed with the leaf washes enables you to work wet in wet to build up the pattern of the foliage and give a sense of depth. Mix fine acrylic texture gel with the grass wash so you can draw back into it with paint shapers, then print with a conifer sprig using a darker wash mixed with the same gel. So, I mean, it's the same with the creating a 3-dimensional roughness using medium acrylic texture gel on the tree trunk. And there's wax resists, using salt for texture, as I said, wax resists, and different salt effects with different sizes of salt grain. So this is this Prussian blue wash, and that's a Prussian blue that's not as dilute. So it's quite a strong Prussian blue. And this is a more dilute one with the salt crystals in it. Scatter plenty of salt onto a fluid wash. Tilt the paper while it dries. The crystalline pattern is no longer distinct. The salt absorbs the wash as it moves down the page and creates a general mottled texture. So these are giving you ideas to test out yourself. So you can try that one. That one's a good one to try. That one, because normally what we do is we put the salt, do what we're doing, put the salt on, and then don't touch it, leave it, off we go. Whereas this one is put on a wash, nice damp wet wash, put salt on, and then play with it, moving the paper up and down, you know, like letting it run a bit this way, a bit that way, but like you would if you're doing drip techniques. Lovely. But there was something else I was trying to find. So introducing gum arabic. So here it's not just putting gum arabic with some pigment powder and making yourself a paint. It's different. Gum arabic. Blah, 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 blah. Adding gum arabic to watercolour paint changes its quality dramatically, making it thicker and much more responsive. The gum helps the paint flow, holds the pigment in suspension, and adds a translucent quality that gives brilliance to the picture surface. It also slows down drying, so you have more time to play around with the paint as you go along. So it then gives you, for instances, telling you what's going on here. So you've got sgraffitoed marks capturing the texture of a beech hedge in autumn, fine scratched lines to suggest the texture of bark, blotting with wet paint. Blotting the wet paint creates the effect of lichen. Yeah, well, I'm not so sure about that. You might want to make the picture a bit bigger. I mean, obviously, this is shrunk down to fit into a book, so it could be a picture, you know, this big or bigger. Fluid lines drawn into thick gum-thickened paint. Broad marks made with a fingernail. In places the paint has an almost treacly appearance. Gum arabic has allowed the artist to work into the colour vigorously and freely. And this is Woods by Charles Knight, so you know who painted it, which is always nice to know. And you've got diffusers and sprayers, which are different. So you've got the spray. Sorry, you can't see that. You've got the spray, like I've got these bottles. A spray bottle, yeah? A diffuser is different. A diffuser is one of those things with a tube with a hole. So he's got it in his mouth, but he's got the other end in the paint or ink, and it blows out there. So you've got to have something in front for it to do it. Now, I've got various things that might be a diffuser. I think I got them to use with things like, well, I got some powder, what's it called? Fuller's Earth powder. Because if you can spray that onto damp paint, then it clumps up the colour and makes a lovely rough mottled look to it. And I wanted to try that, but I'm not sure where I put those. They might be in the other room. So we'll have to try that some other time. But it's basically this sort of idea, but mine's got a little bottle that fits at one area. So you could actually put the watercolour in the bottle, in the little jar, and I've got one with a bulb on the end, and you could just use that as a spray in the same sort of way as this would. But it's not that kind of diffuser. But I've got one that might be that kind of diffuser. I'm not sure. I shall have to have a go with it on time. So here's some more gum arabic effects. Drawing with water. Layer wash mixed with gum arabic and allow to dry. Load a brush with water. Paint a grid of lines and blot with tissue. Use a painting knife to scratch into a still wet wash. Gum arabic as definition holds the mark. This is making it so that watercolour can be used in more of an oil texture. You know what? When I worked with oils, I always used a brush, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people use these things, palette knives. So you get a different look with oil because oil is quite thick and pasty, toothpastey sort of consistency. So when you go like that, it will hold its peak. Now, there are mediums you can use that will encourage paints to hold a peak. Like a lot of the golden stuff has that sort of thing. And I cannot remember which ones do which, but there are so many different types. You can always find something. I've got quite a few golden things. Oh, that's my gum arabic, so I could have a go with some of that. Let's have another look at the gum arabic page. Now, this one's got some layer wash of paint mixed with gum arabic. When it's dry, splatter clean water over it. So we can have a go at some of that. Let's see if that other ink is dry yet. It is just about. I think I can take that one off now. Where's my palette knife? I'm just trying to get this off without getting bleach on my fingers, even though it's almost dry. Move it around so I can grab a bit of clean paper. We can put all these into a journal even. So you've got somewhere where you can put all these together. That would be great to put in something like one of those journals I've got behind me. I've got the mixed media one and I've got the blues and greens one. Could work in either one. Oh, I have actually got quite a selection of different ones around the place. There's always going to be room in one of them because there's barely anything in them. So we'll move this one away to let that dry. I am liking this very much. I do love the granulation medium. So, gum arabic. There's the gum arabic. What does it say about gum arabic? 2 pages at once. So, I'm just reading what it says. Sometimes it's so you may find it's called gum arabic or gum water. Well, I haven't. This one here's called gum arabic, but I've heard it called gum arabica, which is interesting. Gives it a more sort of exotic feel, doesn't it? See, it's not saying a lot about how much, so let's see if the other page says much about that. Layer wash of paint mixed with gum arabic, and they've used a green there. It's quite nice. What about using an orange? That might be nice because, of course, there's one somewhere where somebody did something with an orange. There we are. But that was just using clean water. But it's a lovely texture, don't you think? Don't you think that's a really interesting texture on that orange?
Very interesting. So what did they do? Just use a brush to splatter water?
Yeah.
And that
moved. What they did was, it wasn't just that. It was painted the orange and then cut that shape out of a bit of paper, threw that bit away and put the paper down. It took me a while to figure out that's what they meant. And then, so you've got the rest of the paper masked, but not this area. So then they could just splatter on the water, probably going like that with your hands, picking up a amount and plotting it on, because it seems to do that more when you do that with your hands. So this one, layer wash of paint mixed with gum arabic. We'll have a look at that one with orange. So we'll keep that there. We need it. What do I do with me paint palette? Down there. Keeps on doing that because I will keep closing it when it's still damp. And in any case, this not quite the right size for these, so this is pushing against this paint and it's up too high. That one's not so bad, but the others are so high that they stick to this. Oh well, never mind. So I think I'd like to use Cad Yellow and Windsor Red Deep. Or Cad Yellow and Alizarin Crimson. Let's try Cad Yellow and Alizarin Crimson. Right. Brush. And I think, well, change the water. No point using blue when you're using orange. Blue water and orange creates mud. I'm going to have to move that because I'm just going to break it. There we go. Which isn't very. Where's a nice fresh tissue? Because you think you've cleaned your brush, but of course you haven't. Because the blue seems to stain the brush so much more easily than you want it to. This is getting eaten up, this cad. I want a very small amount of loose. Because now I can't see which is alizarin crimson. I think it's that one. What a lovely colour. Right. Lay down a wash mixed with gum arabic. So we do need to put the gum arabic into that now. I've put 3 drops. No more. It doesn't say anything about how many drops. I might put a little bit more. 6 drops. I think that's going to be enough, even if I don't think it's going to be enough. I think that's what I'm going to add. So that's got 6 drops in it, and it's gone all sort of fizzy. All those bubbles are not separating out like they would in a wash without it. So suppose we are doing an orange. I'm adding more to one side than to the other, just because I want to see whether it makes any difference. There we go. Now, that started to dry, so I'm adding water to it to make sure it's got the difference of amount. So we let that dry. So let's do another one while we're doing that, because we've still got some left. Let's add some more alizarin to that, make it a more of a pinky colour. A little bit more. Bit more alizarin. And add that to one side and not the other. So this has probably got a good deal less gum arabic in it, simply because I've added more water and I haven't added any more gum arabic. So I'm going to go on this side and make sure that's a bit wetter. Get rid of that hair. And the other one that's there and won't go away. Look at the shape that creates. You can tell it's a not great brush. Right. Okay, so grab a clean one. Where's a clean one? I've got yellow in the water, but it doesn't matter anyway. So it says layer wash, when it's dry, splatter clean water over it. Yes, well, that's not clean. Oh, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I've got quite a lot of blue on my hands, so I'm getting green there. So perhaps I should use the other hand that isn't quite so mucky. Oh, look. See where I picked those up? With the... That's why you make a mask to reveal only this.
Even with dirty water.
Mm-hmm. Now we're getting to see a difference. There's quite a difference between this one and this one that had much less gum arabic in it. So there is a good difference, isn't there? So we're getting color difference, even where I'm using the dropper. And it's quite a startling difference here compared to this. We could leave this a bit longer, because the longer you lift it, the longer time it has to wet the pigment and make it move more. So with this one, So the thing with using the spatter without green hands, using the spatter effect with a cleaner hand, you're getting a different shape. Whereas we're using this, you're getting drop shapes, round drop shapes. And it's not lifting so much as the gum arabic one was, with more gum arabic in it. I think that's really good. That really shows you. I mean, even where I've got a paler area of paint compared with the heavier area of paint, the greater amount of gum arabic. I put 6 drops in that. It's giving me a different effect to this one. That's good to know. I really like that. So, this one had 6 drops of gum arabic in the cad yellow and alizarin crimson. This one had cad yellow and alizarin crimson, but more water added to the paint in the palette without adding more gum arabic. And that's the difference. And it's quite a startling difference, if you ask me. I like it. Yeah, I think that's pretty successful. This is a really pretty good book, but I'm taking information from here and from other people's videos, as well as other books I've got that have these sort of things in. A lot of the mixed media books have sections on different additives like this. So I think we're doing pretty well. So we've got that one. We've got the dark colours with the bleach. And we've got Aquafix, Aquapasto, and granulation medium. I think we've done pretty well for today. I'm liking it.
Good job.
I think that's enough for today. And the next things I'm going to do, I've been, you may not be able to see it, but I can swing the camera around. And so I have got, there's my easel, and that's got a nicely prepared canvas on it. That was someone else's print, one of those ink prints that commercial people do, and then people hang up in houses in order to sell them, saying, look at the artwork on the walls. Yes, it's a lovely decorated house, when actually nobody wants the painting. So this particular one I have painted watercolour ground, 2 layers. First I tried it by putting the white gesso on, and then by putting watercolour ground on in 2 layers, and you could still see it. So I went over it with a primer, spray primer, another layer of gesso on top of that, and then 2 more layers of watercolour ground, and now I've got a lovely white surface. So I can paint on that. I've done the same with the other one, and I've got more canvases I can do it to with different sizes and shapes. So I've got a nice tall one about this sort of size, top to there, not quite so wide, So I can do my tall boat on one of those.
Oh, good.
That was the idea. I've just got some today that are about the right sort of size and shape, but I've got to prep those. I've also got to deal with this, which I've now got some sprays to do it with. So this is a test piece. I can do this outside, probably tomorrow, I reckon, and spray it on and see what happens. Because I want to see... Oh, you can't see. Sorry, let's swing back to where we were. So I want to see if these marks here will be preserved when I'm spraying on the paint, or whether they will be disturbed by the spray I'm using. That's the point, because this is just a test bit to see what happens when I spray on it, so that then I can get the little box I made with the embossing plate that gave it the nice texture. And if this works on here, then I can do it on that. Another thing you can use is called Dorland's wax, and you can use that on watercolour as well. Now, you know the fork storm I did a little while ago? I wanted to go over that with something like Dorland's wax. There are other things like there's this Degas Fixative Spectrafix. Just looking to see if it mentions, it doesn't mention watercolour, mentions everything with from chalk, Conte, coloured pencil, soft pastel, pan pastel, oil pastel, graphite, charcoal, ink, markers, mixed media. So, but there's also, which somewhere I've got the other 2. They're not here. They're somewhere else. But they're the other ones where I haven't got Dorland's wax, but I have got another fixative. which I can't remember the name of and can't find, so I'll have to tell you about that another time. But I want to get some Dorland's wax because you can put that on and it does not disturb it at all. So if you've got a perfectly painted thing only done in watercolors and you put Dorland's wax on, you still keep the exact thing you've got down there. Of course, like I've said before and haven't got round to doing, because I like it so much, I'm afraid to touch it and spoil it. Oh, there you go. I want to put some little touches on the forks of the fork storm to just finish them off a bit. I suppose I just have to take the plunge and have a go. But there we are. So we're done for today.
Okay, here I am.
Good. But well, I'm done for today. I want to see what you've been doing with your.
I'll show you next time or whatever. It's over there drying, and
oh, I see. Right.
So we'll do it another time.
I feel deprived.
You'll survive.
I like that you managed to get that book.
Oh, I'm
good, isn't it?
Yes, I am absolutely so happy with this. I was flipping through it last night briefly, and it's like,
doesn't it feel nice on the cover?
Yeah, it does. It does. And you know, I have this piece of art on my. I was doing these little crafts, and this is from months and months and months ago, and now I realize the attraction. This is. I made a bunch of these.
Yeah.
These are watercolor little coins. These are just done on copy paper with watercolor and whatnot. And I remember cutting them out and then embellishing them. And I have a pile of these somewhere. And this one was laying here. And I'm like, well, no wonder I like her work. If you look back in her book, there's areas where she... we were looking at that because I was asking you specifically here, like
there we go. Yeah.
So it's no wonder I was attracted to it. It's exactly the sort of thing that
you've already been doing it.
But I'm very happy to support her and have her book. It's not a used book. I bought it new.
And also me too, and also it gives you ideas to add embellishment to what you've already done.
Well, for me, it's also color and glazing, using watercolor and then the glazing technique. And yes, the
layers.
So there's techniques
There's
and
a lot
colors.
in that book.
So it was. I mean, you couldn't get a good used one because this only just came out.
Exactly. Yes, I know. So that's why I did completely forgotten I'd ordered it.
Yeah,
and then you turn up and you go, where did that come from?
I have to say,
his figure.
There's a hefty amount of instruction and technique and information in here, so it's absolutely worth the purchase. I'm very happy.
She's very good at going into detail in the explanation. I think that's wonderful. Yeah.
So we will say goodbye.
Okie dokie. Just let me get this so I can actually do the bye-bye. Where am I? Where's my... there it is. Trying to find your cursor when you've been doing something else. There we go. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.